Yo, what's up, everyone? Back for this Monday slate. Happy Labor Day. Hopefully, you guys are off and can just relax and play some DFS today. We have a nice 8-game slate starting at 1 o'clock, so let's get right into it. Drop a like and subscribe down below, and you can visit the website if you're looking to get on board for NFL. On this slate, we don't have a ton of top-end pitching. Odorizzi is your most expensive pitcher. He's been fine all season, but he hasn't flashed a ton of upside as of late. He hasn't gotten over 30 DraftKings points in any of his starts except for early June. He's had a couple negatives there. I think the best case scenario is he's going to get 25 to 30, probably like 20 to 25, and you can live with that at 10-5, but you're not getting a great return. Syndergaard's he's been fine all year, but he hasn't flashed a ton of upside. I don't want to really play him against the Nationals. Don't really want to play Minor against the Yankees. I think Yarborough's a little too pricey for me, even though he definitely has some upside here. I'm going to go down here and go with Tanaka at 8,100. I like two pitchers in the mid-range. Tanaka is facing the Rangers. It's not a big park downgrade, but it's definitely a little bit of a downgrade whenever you leave Texas. Tanaka has been pretty much up and down all year. He's been a little better as of late. Especially at home in Yankee Stadium is where he's pitched a lot better. So I think he can definitely just have a solid game here. The Rangers don't have a high total or anything, and Tanaka is at home. He's been really good with a 3.26 ERA. He's gotten a lot of trouble on the road. And he's been pretty good at keeping the ball on the ground. He has about a 50% ground ball rate to both sides of the plate. And he's actually held left-handed hitters to a 35% hard hit rate. And they have a lot of lefties on the Rangers, so I think he can manage here at this price tag. And given the lack of great options that we have on the slate, and then second pitcher is going to be Adam Wainwright. Like the price tag on him, even though he hasn't pitched well as of late. He's faced the Brewers both times his last two starts, and the Brewers are a very lefty-heavy team, as you know, with Moustakas, with Yelich, with Grisham, just a lot of lefties in the lineup for the Brewers, and left-handed heavy lineups give Adam Wainwright a lot of trouble. Definitely it's going to depend a little bit on how many lefties the Giants have, but their lineup is definitely not as scary as the Brewers. They've definitely been struggling as of late, and Wainwright, just like Tanaka, has been really good at home. At home, he has a 2.67 ERA, which is really remarkable compared to on the road where he's gotten lit up. He's still a good strikeout pitcher, and at home is where he's had his best games of the season. So I think he's definitely going to bounce back. And before he faced the Brewers, he was putting up some solid scores. So at only $7,600, you're getting a $2,000 price discount from his last start in a much better matchup. So gonna take a chance with him. I think he's a pretty solid play. And then for teams to stack today, there's a couple of teams, like 5 teams that I really like. If I had to rank them, it would probably be the Twins first, then the Braves, then the Cubs, then the Rays, and then the Reds. Those are the teams I'm looking at. So starting off at first base, I'm going to go with Ji-Man Choi. He's been really hot as of late. He's only 4,100 facing Wojciechowski. Wojciechowski's been he's definitely come back down to earth after he was good in his first start against the Red Sox. He's given up a lot of power. Choi has really flashed some power as of late. In his last 5 games, he has 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and a bunch of multi-hit games. So he's been pretty streaky all season, and I think he can put up a solid score here. He bats right in the heart of the lineup. So getting a lot of RBI opportunities, and should get some extra at-bats here if this stack does go off. On the season, he has a solid 274 average against righties with 12 of his 13 home runs and a solid 184 ISO. And Wojciechowski has really struggled against lefties, so if you want to stack up the Rays, they do have some left-handed hitters that you can look at, with Choi and Meadows are my 2 favorites at their respective positions. On the season, Wojciechowski's been really good against righties. He's held them to a 222 average, but lefties have a 598 slugging percentage off of him. He has struck out 28% of righties, but only 19% of lefties. He's not good against righties with a 5.11 xFIP, but he's definitely much worse against lefties 6.52 xFIP with a massive fly ball rate to both sides of the plate. So it's not a good park to hit in, but I still like Choi a lot given the numbers. Next up at third base, speaking of the Cubs, we got a really nice price tag on Kris Bryant today. Only $4,200 for Bryant. Love that price tag. He's always been one of the most expensive third basemen a lot of the time, especially when the matchup is right. And whenever he's facing a lefty, I would expect him to be one of the more expensive options on the slate. It's not really the case. He's only $4,200. He's been crushing left-handed pitching this season. And Sheffield's not a good pitcher. The Mariners don't have a good bullpen. Is at home at Wrigley. A lot of good things to like for Bryant. On the season, he has a .326 average against lefties with 9 home runs. He's hit the ball really hard against lefties. .368 ISO with just a 19.7% strikeout rate. 40% hard hit rate, and a massive 49% fly ball rate. Love Kris Bryant here at a solid price tag. You can also throw him in the outfield if you want, so you get the nice dual position eligibility for Bryant. In the outfield, going to go with Nelson Cruz. He has amazing numbers against Jordan Zimmerman in a small sample size. He's been like 4 straight games of double-digit fantasy scores. I think it's about time that Nelson Cruz goes out and has a monster game with a home run, maybe a couple doubles, maybe 2 home runs. Zimmerman's been fine as of late, but I'm still not going to trust him against the Twins, or definitely stack them up 10 times out of 10 whenever they're facing a guy like Zimmerman. On the season, he's still giving up power and home runs. .529 slugging percentage and a .320 average to lefties. Righties have hit him fine too. He has xFIP is pretty high to both sides. Doesn't strike many out. He's been a little worse to lefties, but I still love the talent and just overall, Nelson Cruz is the best hitter on the team, so you can't go wrong there. And on the season, career-wise, Zimmerman's not been much different to righties and lefties, so definitely take a chance on Cruz given his numbers against Zimmerman, and given the way he's been hitting the ball, he just doesn't strike out that much. And he does strike out a lot, but he's not going to strike out that much in a matchup like this. And he's just been hitting the ball, and he's been making contact and hitting the ball and playing, getting a lot of hits. So as you see, he's had double-digit hits in 4 straight games and 5 of his last 6. I think it's time that he has a breakout game, and a good chance it could happen today against the Tigers in Detroit. And last but not least, going to give you guys like one player from each of my favorite teams to stack that I like. Matt Joyce in the outfield at just $4,000. He's been swinging a very hot bat. He's only $4,000. He bats like projected to bat 5th or 6th in the lineup against Waguespack. Matt Joyce has always been good against right-handed pitching. And given the hot streak that he's been on as of late, just feel like he's in a good price tag. Great stack. The Braves have one of the highest totals on the slate. So a lot to like there. He's also cheap. On the season, he has all 5 home runs against righties, .287 average, with a .171 ISO. Last season, he hit righties not great, but definitely has been more powerful against righties. Career-wise, he has a .251 average with a .200 ISO against righties. So he's not good against lefties, but he can definitely hit the righties. And at only $4,000, get a nice price tag on him to play in the outfield. So that's what I like for this slate, going with my favorite teams to stack: Twins, Braves, Cubs, and Rays. And 2 solid pitchers in the mid-range that definitely have a lot of upside. So thanks for watching. Before we end this video, I'll talk about some other players I like on those teams. So we'll start at the end here with the Cubs. Looking at the righties in particular, I love Castellanos against lefties at $4,300. He's been swinging a really hot bat ever since he's been a Cub. I like him. I love Baez at $42. We're getting a nice price tags on a lot of these Cubs. So Bryant, Baez, Schwarber are my favorite plays. On the Braves, they're also pretty nicely priced. Joyce has at $4,000. You got Swanson's a fine play at shortstop. He's not that cheap. I like Donaldson. Albies is fine. And Freeman. Braves are always a good stack. The Twins, can't go wrong there. They're dealing with some injuries. If Kepler's in there, he's a good play. But I like Rosario a lot at 46. Him and Cruz are my two favorite plays in the outfield, especially if Kepler is banged up. And then you could probably go with Jake Cave, too. He's cheap at 4,100. He's been hot. And then Polanco, I like him. And Araz at just $4,000. On the Rays, I'm really looking at the lefties. So Meadows, Kiermaier, Joey Wendell as a cheap play, and Choi. And that's it. So those are the other players I would consider. But thanks for watching. I appreciate it. You can drop a like if you enjoyed, and good luck today.